I don't get involved in sales and I don't get involved in finances. So please don't come down here and tell me like how this is supposed to go. So I got to a point where I realized I'm making more money on the weekends than I make all month working for somebody else. And not to knock working for somebody else. You guys got a good gig here.
All right, I'm out.
But there comes a point in time, and I'm sure you can relate to this, where you're just like, fuck, if I'm working for anybody else ever again for the rest of my life. And it was like a table flip moment, and I was like, I'm done. I quit. And I got home, and I told my wife that I quit. She's like, what are you going to do? And I go, I don't know. So I think I'm going to go teach full time. And I've always been a hustler, so she's just like, well, then you better get to work. And it was just like, hey, man, I see you have a range. Can I come teach Monday night? Hey, man, I see you guys have a range. Can I come teach Wednesday nights? Hey, I need a class for my guys that can't make weekends. Can I do a Friday during the day at your range? And next thing I know, 3 weeks later, I've got a 5-day-a-week schedule for like the next 5 months booked. And I'm like, just saying.
So we're recording on all 3 cameras, correct?
Cool.
Is my mic good?
Your mic, everybody's mics are good.
This is the B-reel. The
Are you good?
candid outtakes.
Yeah.
Good.
You're good?
All right.
You're good?
Cool.
Okay.
Well, I guess we can get started. So, thank you for watching the Big Tex part. The what? What is this again? What are we here?
Big Tex Ordnance podcast.
That. Yeah, thank you for watching that. We appreciate y'all watching. We'll see you next time.
And
Adios.
cut. That's awesome.
No, welcome to the Big Tex Ordnance podcast. Now that I can actually talk.
It's Monday, dude.
It is. Yeah, it's Monday. It's like 9:30, so I'm still waking up, my man.
Yeah.
Need more caffeine.
Anyways, I'm Ike. We have Chris, Ian, and then our guest today is Ben from Onsight Firearms Training. So, thanks
Cool.
for coming down, man.
Yeah,
I know
man. Thanks for having me.
I know it's a couple-hour drive.
Yeah, not too far to drive.
Yeah.
I like driving, and the weird thing was I had these 2 classes this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and for the first 4 months of the classes being booked, we had 5 people for Saturday and 4 people for Sunday, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, this is gonna be a real dinger. This is gonna hurt. And Chris had contacted me. He's like, oh, if you're coming down, you should be on the podcast. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm coming down. like people are not lose money on the classes or not just getting on here with you guys. Super smart, super cool opportunity. And I was like, yeah, my wife's like, I don't care if the classes are canceled. You're flying down there to do that. I'm like, yes, dear. So, the boss speaks, I move.
Yep.
So, yeah, just very happy to be down here today with you guys.
Did you fill up the rest of the class?
Yeah, oddly enough, the last 2 weeks before the class, we ended up with, I think we ran 9 people each day.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Wow,
So
almost
it's
doubled it.
well, okay.
Yeah.
Everybody saw that
Surprise.
this high of 68 degrees on Saturday, and everybody signed up for that.
Yeah, like I said, I brought my own weather with me. So I was
Thank
like,
you for that.
You
Yeah.
can stay.
Yeah,
you can stay.
Can you please not leave?
We got so much done around the house this weekend. Like I fell a tree,
nice.
big oak tree that was halfway rotten.
Lumberjack
Yeah,
Ike.
man. I was out there.
I saw you got your Disney princess on again. With with the birds.
Yeah, there's a little cardinal we found this morning.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
lands on his hand.
But yeah, you could not have gotten I wish
That's the coldest.
about 2 weeks ago when you were like, hey man, come get in the class, and I'm like, man, I'm not fucking. It's hot. I'm not doing the class. I'm
105
good.
degrees.
I'm good. And then Saturday morning, I walk outside and it's 58 degrees. I was like, I wonder if I could get into class.
Listen, I'm not a hot weather person at all, right? So last time that I was down in Texas was Shooter Symposium. And that Sunday, I'm on the range with Fisher, and at 2:30, it was 105 degrees that day. Remember that? And it was there was no clouds.
Just brutal.
And I'm sitting here, I was like, and I'm shaking because I got the chills. And I said, Steve, It's 105. I'm freezing my ass off. I got the chills. I was like, I am smart enough, and I've done enough med classes that I know something bad is going to happen if I stay out of this. So I go, I'm going to go and get my water, and I'm going to go in the car, and I'm going to turn the AC on, and I'm going to sit back, and I'm going to sit there till I feel better. And Steve's like, yeah, man, it's a great idea. So I go in the car. I'm in there for about maybe, 35 minutes, and then finally I'm like, all right, cool. I feel like a normal human being again. I go back out, and I see Steve, and Steve's like, I don't feel so good either. Because it's about 3 o'clock, I think, 3:30ish. He's like, we're going to cut it right now. And I was like, all right, man. He's like, I got the chills too. And I'm like, it's a smart idea. It's cool to train in all types of weather. I get it, right? You never know when you're going to have to do your thing. But are you going to have to do your thing for 6 to 8 hours? Right? Like, people are like, oh, if it ain't rain, it ain't training. If I'm in a self-defense situation in the rain, that shit's going to last 30 seconds and I'm out. At tops, right? We used to joke if you're in a fight for more than 5 seconds or 10 seconds, you're probably getting your ass kicked. So putting your students through that, because that's the cool guy thing to do. Like, it's 50 degrees, it's pouring rain, your students are soaked, the wind is blowing, they're freezing, their hands are red and raw. They're now mentally preoccupied with how awfully uncomfortable they are, and they're forgetting what they're doing, what they're holding, what's in their hands, and bad shit happens. And the same with the heat. You're out in the heat for too long, your brain starts to fry and frizzle, and you end up doing dumb shit. Like, this is where accidents happen, and some instructors will go, man up and brave through it. It's like, no, dude, I'm done. Like, I know when to pull the plug and be like, rifle's going here, pistol's going here, my ass is going in the AC with a nice cold beverage. I have no shame in that. Safety is probably the best solution in that situation.
Yeah, better to err on the side of caution than to
like
melt your
you can be cool guy all you want. I'm going to be ice cold guy in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. It's hot. And it was hot all summer long.
Dude, it was a brutal summer.
Dude, it wasn't even that bad this weekend, and my lips are chapped, my forehead and my nose are sunburnt. It was, I think, at the most 80 degrees.
Yeah.
But the sun down here,
just hits
sun down
different.
here is a little different than the sun in New York. I could have an 85, 90 degree day in New York and be like, this is fine. And I could have an 80 degree down here, go back to the hotel room and go, what the fuck happened to me?
I'm a lobster.
I feel like Clint Eastwood in when Tuco finds him in the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and he's in the stagecoach and he's all dried out. It's like, oh, man.
So how long have you been in the training community? You've been in it a while.
So this is an interesting conversation to have because I've been teaching since 2006, but I've been teaching properly since 2010. Because in 2005-ish, I got the NRA certification and became an NRA instructor, chief RSO, and not to knock the NRA guys out there, but sitting in a classroom for 12 hours, shooting 25 rounds into a giant target at 15 yards and giving somebody $300 doesn't really make you an instructor. And at the time, I was like, yeah, I'm an instructor now. I'm an instructor today. Day after the class, I'm an instructor. No, I wasn't. I thought I was. And then I took my first class, like outside of the NRA program. It was a class up at SIG Academy, and I was like, whoa, like, what just happened today? What was all that? I want to do that. And I taught pistol, shotgun, rifle, because this is stuff that I grew up shooting. Loved all of it. And somewhere around 2009, 2010, I took my first class with Fisher, which, if you've never taken the class with Fisher, your first one is usually the most memorable, because that's where you get the most constructive feedback. And I remember my spot on the line, I'm like, well, shit, I'm the guy that always gets the spot right next to the instructor, because that's where most of the information comes from. And we're shooting, and we're doing like 10 yards, 15 yards, and I got a group like this, and it's all in the B8, so I'm fucking like, yeah, man, I'm happy with this. And he just kind of leans over and goes, You don't shoot a lot of pistol, do you? I'm like, what are you talking about? Look at that. And he goes, you're an instructor, huh? And I go, yeah, man. He goes, shoot like a student. I'm like, this guy. So I leave the class. At the end of the day, I get in the car. I'm like, fuck that dude. Fuck does he know, motherfucker. I'm driving. About 45 minutes into the drive. All right, maybe my pistol, I could use a little bit of tweaking here and there. I probably could shoot a little bit better, especially if I'm going to. By the time I got home, on the computer, looking up the Sentinel concepts. When's the next class? That was a kick in the ass that I needed. And I remember thinking to myself, I am never going to let somebody say that to me again. Not that I was mad at him, but it was that realization that as an instructor, you have an example to set for your students, right? So I see other instructors that I know that are just getting into it, and I'm like, guys, I'm not trying to bag on you, but if you're going to teach people, you got to wow them. You got to be better than 95% of the people that are in your class. And if you got a guy coming into the class who shoots better than you, you got to figure out some way to challenge him. So if you guys are doing a bunch of B8s at 15 yards or 25 yards, two hands, take this guy away and see how he does. And if he's still killing it, put it over in support hand. Come up with some way. Bust out the timer, right? What happens when people hear that beep? There's the smell of in the air, right? The little craps in the pants come out. And you got to figure out a way to challenge people. So 2010, we went live with OFT. Me and Rachel. Had a couple of other guys here and there that helped out, that were part of the company, personality-wise, skill level-wise, schedule-wise, didn't quite work out. So, have a nice day. You're wiped from the site. Now we've got me, Rachel, Tom, Sean, Maddie, and Chris. And each one of us kind of has our own thing that we do. Chris and Maddie are the medical end of things. So those guys also, with Tom, are part of Onsight Medical Training, which is the medical sort of non-firearms related stuff. And they go out and they do classes at synagogues and businesses and churches, schools, things that if I said, hey, we're Onsight Firearms Training, we want to come teach a class. And they're like, no thanks. But, and then me and Rachel and Sean teach most of the firearms classes. And our other guy, Tom, who's on the website, you can look up his bio. He's kind of working as an assistant instructor right now. So, Sean, by the way, if you guys are familiar with Tom Givens and the casino drill, Sean just came back from his advanced instructor with Tom. He took Top Shot. He won a bunch of other coins, and he has set the world record for casino drill in 9 seconds.
That's
wow.
Burning it.
And that was described as a bunch of the range master guys as inhuman. It's inhuman. 9 seconds. Like, I've done it in 14, and the previous world record holder was 10.5 seconds. 9 seconds clean.
It's 21 shots. And is it 2 reloads or 3 reloads in there?
2 reloads. 7, 7, and 7.
Yep.
And supposed to be in under 21 seconds.
Yeah.
Spicy.
That's
the moving, man. Like, I'm just doing the math on what my reload splits are.
I can't get. I don't think I could get 3 reloads right now at under 9 seconds.
Well, he came to us about 2 years ago as a student, and his third class in with us, he's like, he was that guy who was like in that 5% that was shooting really good, and I'm like, okay, we're going at distance for time, and that's where I kind of challenged him a little, but. He came to us third or fourth class in. He goes, I'd like to be an instructor one day. And I go, and I'm thinking how good he is. I'm like, cool, just do yourself a favor and stay out of my territory. We won't have a problem. And on the way home from that class that night, my wife and I took 2 separate cars because she was coming from somewhere else. And I'm driving home, and she, the voice of reason calls me, and she goes, that kid Sean wants to be an instructor. I said, yeah, I know. I already told him stay the fuck out of our territories. Stay on your side of the river, pal. And she goes, or, and I go, yeah, or I'll break his fucking legs. And she goes, or, and I go, I'll slash his tires and break his legs. And she goes, or you could hire him. And I'm like, why the hell would I hire somebody? Like, I'm I got you, I got me. We're good. We got Maddie's on the team too at the time. I was like, we got plenty of people to teach. And she goes, yeah, but what if he does do that and he's a really good shooter and he now becomes competition down the road? She's like, you're going to miss an opportunity to have a really awesome shooter on your staff. And I was like, oh, she's right again. She's always right. They're always right. You know that. You're married, right? So, and I was like, all right, I'll have a conversation with him. And he came in and he worked unpaid for a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I wanted to see that he really wanted it, because now I'm buying him guns, taking him to SHOT Show. I'm more than happy to have the company foot the bill for his progression as an instructor, as a shooter, whatever. But I got to see that you want it. I got to see that you're serious about it. Because I get people all the time, hey, man, I'd love to come teach with you guys, man, if you ever need an instructor. And I'm like, cool, let me see you shoot. Okay, good, have a nice day. So he worked for a year, and it was like, dude, set up targets. And I'm an asshole when it comes to my targets being set up, because everything has to be straight up and down.
Are you like Chuck?
Me and Chuck got along great.
I was going to say, I bet y'all.
Like, have you ever seen Chuck put a B8 repair
Oh,
center
yeah.
up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's going light.
He's over there with like a level, making sure everything's like completely level on all sides. Oh, it's upside down.
When I set up the backers on the first class, Chuck's like, I want my backers perfectly straight up and down and perfectly level across the top, the whole row. I want my targets up, smoothed out, no wrinkles, nothing. And there was one night that I came into our Wednesday night skill builder, and there was like half-inch difference in a couple of the targets. And he goes, hey, I got everything set up. I got here early. And he was really like, look what I did. And I'm like, they're fucking crooked. Take them all fucking down and do it again. And he looks at Rachel like, is he serious? And Rachel's like, yeah, he's serious. I'm like, seriously, dude, look at them. They're all crooked. You got one going this way, one's higher than the other. I'm like, when students walk in or when students show up in your class, the very first impression that they get about you as an instructor is what your range looks like, what your targets look like, what your setup looks like. And if you have a sloppy setup, that's their first impression of you before you even open your mouth. So I'm like, that's the most important thing, is what it looks like to the student. Later, we can wow them with teaching and shooting and all that other shit, but first impressions last the longest. So now he went out and got a stick with a little flag on it, and he'll go up to each target, and he'll measure them for a while, and I was cracking up. I'm like, dude, you don't have to go that intense, but I like it. I appreciate the enthusiasm.
So you mentioned there you have a Wednesday night skill builder. Do y'all have a range y'all work out of most of the time?
So we teach out of 27 different ranges.
Oh, wow.
From Florida to Maine to Ohio. Our main ones, every Wednesday night, there's a range 15 minutes from my house, Paladin Center, that we do a 3-hour pistol skill builder at. 3 hours for $75. And then 1 or 2 Mondays a month, we do same class up at Academy, which is a Constellus facility. And then a Tuesday or a Monday at Cape Gun Works in Cape Cod. And then once a month at Tommy Gun in Honesdale, PA. So we've got this little circuit that we do every 2 weeks. We're kind of either me or Sean. Sometimes Rachel will teach a couple of them. And it's just like get in a car, go to Connecticut. Okay, Connecticut, go to Massachusetts. Go back to New York, go to Pennsylvania, go somewhere else. And then New York on the weekends, or I go someplace on the weekends and they go to New York. So we are teaching 5 days a week on the light side. Sometimes 6 days a week. There was a point where I went 3.5 weeks in a row teaching every day, like all over the East Coast. And
It's a hell of a schedule.
we honestly, like, it sounds like bullshit, but when I say we have 250 classes on the schedule for next year, we will have 250 classes on the schedule for next year. Keep in mind, that's 4 active instructors. There's
Still.
4 of us teaching. So when I'm in New York, someone's in Connecticut. When I'm in Virginia, someone's in Massachusetts. So it's, it's work, man. Running a business. There's never a dull moment.
So how'd you get into firearms back in the day?
I was born in western Pennsylvania, a suburb of Pittsburgh. And I lived there till I was about 4, and then my mother and I moved to the East Coast, to Jersey on the shore. But I would get sent back to Pittsburgh on the holidays and the summer. She's like, "Get out of my hair. You're going out with your relatives. Go have fun running around in the woods." And at 7 or 8 years old in western Pennsylvania, which is like the sticks, it's like around here, what do you do at that age? We're talking 1979, right? 78, 79. Well, you ran around in the woods with your BB guns. Mm-hmm. And you set up tin cans everywhere. And
At 710 yards
Yeah.
with the 22.
And you could literally, and this is the crazy thing about back then, I had CO2 pistols and BB pistols and rifles with scopes on them and slings and shit. And you would throw that shit over your shoulder and you put your BB gun pistol in your holster, and you would walk 1.5 miles down the road on the side of the highway to go to the woods where everybody shot at. And cars would ride by and people would honk and wave to you. And you'd pass the neighbor's house and they'd go, "Oh, you guys go and shoot and have fun." Try that shit now. Go into any neighborhood with open carry pistol and a rifle slung on your back and walk for about 1 mile. You'll be the most popular person, right? So, and then we got into 22 pistols, and then I got into martial arts and did that for a number of years. And then, unfortunately, high school hit. And in high school, the very last thing I wanted to think of was anything other than chasing ass. And like any high school kid, any male high school kid, I wanted to drink beer, smoke pot, and get my you-know-what-you-know-whatted. And that's where my focus went. And martial arts, karate, everything, brushed that aside. Shooting, brushed that aside. Got heavily into the punk rock scene in like freshman year, and got out of high school, got into the music business, did a little bit of shooting, and didn't get back into shooting or any sort of self-defense arts at all until about 98. And then in 98, slowly was like, oh yeah, I used to really like this stuff. And about 2000, got a little bit more serious. And then 2004, I was like, all right, I'm back. Let's do this shit. And then I got like just headlong into it. 2005, started teaching, allegedly. 2009, started working at, actually 2006, 2008, was working at gun shops and gun ranges in the area. 2009, I was at a gun show, and I see this guy that I recognize from one of the ranges, and he comes up with his wife, and he introduced his wife, and his wife says, "Hi, I'm so-and-so from Kimber Manufacturing. How are you?" And I said, "Hi, I'm Ben. Are you guys hiring?" And she goes, "Well, yeah, get me your resume." So shot over a resume to her. 2 weeks, had an interview. A week later, had a job working in product service. And I was doing test firing. And I was shooting like 400 rounds out of 50 guns a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, trigger finger was like,
Yeah.
worked in that product service department for a couple years, and then made good friends with the head of the gunsmithing department.
How big is Kimber? Like,
About 500 people.
holy shit! I didn't realize they were that big. I know like they had a pretty good manufacturing capability. I didn't
Yeah.
realize they were that.
Well, we'll talk about the 500 people in a little bit, but got into the gunsmithing department and started working first as a 1911 armor. So I did all the show, television, and movie guns that you've seen from 2009 to about 2017.
Oh, wow.
So if there was ever a movie where they referenced the Kimber, a little trilogy of movies, or 4 movies actually now, that was one of mine.
Oh, dang.
And like one day I'm sitting here and I'm prepping a set of 2 custom TLERLs, and our marketing guy comes down and goes, oh yeah, before those go out to the prop house, you got to put these Punisher grips on them. And I went, oh, it's another Punisher movie? No, it's for that next Netflix. Netflix is doing a Punisher show. These are the guns for it. And I was like, sweet, okay. So I got to do a lot of cool things, a lot of shows that I watch. I actually recognized some of the guns. I'm like, I remember that stainless Ultra Raptor, 3-inch, that went out to the prop house. Breaking Bad, El Camino. Holy shit. There it is.
That's cool.
And then I worked as a gunsmith. Got into the actual gunsmithing thing for several years. Spent 5 days a week doing nothing but fixing and customizing 1911s and shooting them. And then around 2017, I had already been teaching seriously with OFT for 10 years, or not 10 years, about 7 years. And the firearms industry is interesting because there are some companies, like the bigger ones, like Colt and Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Kimber. You have 500-something employees. About 50 of us were gun owners. About 10 of that 50 carried guns. And about 5 of that 10 actually shot guns actively on a regular basis. Your CNC guys could be making auto parts the day before. Mm-hmm. Your sales guys came from Sprint or some other sales position. Our VP came from Whirlpool. Our CEO came from John Deere. Right? So they don't necessarily have to be gun people. They could be from any industry. A widget's a widget. A part's a part. And it just got to a point where we were listening to some of the things that the guys upstairs, suit and tie guys, would come downstairs and say, hey, how come you guys do so much hand fitting of these parts on these 1911s? How come you just can't get drop-in parts like, what's that company, Lock or Block Glock, something like that? They have drop-in parts. And it's like, I don't get involved in sales and I don't get involved in finances. So please don't come down here and tell me how this is supposed to go. So I got to a point where I realized I'm making more money on the weekends than I make all month working for somebody else. And not to knock working for somebody else. You guys got a good gig here.
All right, I'm out.
Yeah.
But there comes a point in time, and I'm sure you can relate to this, where you're just like, fuck if I'm working for anybody else ever again for the rest of my life. And it was like a table flip moment, and I was like, I'm done. I quit. And I got home, and I told my wife that I quit, and she's like, what are you going to do? And I go, I don't know. I said, I think I'm going to go teach full time. And I've always been a hustler, so she's just like, well, then you better get to work. And it was just like, hey, man, I see you have a range. Can I come teach Monday night? Hey, man, I see you guys have a range. Can I come teach Wednesday nights? Hey, I need a class for my guys that can't make weekends. Can I do a Friday during the day at your range? And next thing I know, 3 weeks later, I've got a 5-day-a-week schedule for the next 5 months booked. And I'm like, kind of look back the first week I left Kimber, I was like, man, that was a really dumb idea. I should have really fucked that up, didn't I? And then the second week, I was like, so long, suckers. I'm out of here, pal. I'm never coming back. I have not regretted that decision since that moment. Best decision I made.
So you pretty much just hit the ground running as soon as you left. Nice.
Yeah, feet hit the floor, and I realized it's right now was that sink or swim moment. Right now, when I hung up the phone with my wife, because she was working in the marketing department at Kimber, And she's like, what is going on over there? Here's what happened. As soon as I hung up the phone with her, I was like, God damn it, dude. You better figure this shit out right now. Because she's dependent on you. You know, I had a house. We have a dog. You know, my four-legged kid is depending on me. So it was literally hit the ground running. It was like, no bullshit. There's no more bullshit time. Like, this is work. And that was that, man. It's been a wild ride since.
I got a question.
Uh-oh.
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 It's about to get real.
Here it comes.
So being on the East Coast, like, how is it traveling from state to state with the stuff that you have and you do?
I don't have anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I lost all that shit in a boating accident. So you have to follow the rules of the laws, whatever. Everything I carry has to be state compliant.
Mm-hmm.
I have this nice little piece of paper in the glove box that everything else in the trunk is listed in a book at home if it's not state compliant. So anything happens, I go, here's this piece of paper, and here's a copy of my logbook, and that's where it is, and this is going for a demo. And it's basically, if you're driving around with a truckload of stuff, don't drive like an asshole.
Yeah.
I tell people, because people are like, hey, if I come to that class, what happens if I get pulled over and, something. I go, well, what did you do to get pulled over? If you're riding around with a 30-round AR magazine in your car in, Connecticut, and you get pulled over, well, obviously, cops aren't like, hey, I'm bored today. Well, there's a red car. Let's pull him over. There's got to be a reason that you did something, or a reason why you're now being interviewed. So, and then you also have to understand your Fourth Amendment. You mind if I search your vehicle? Yeah, I do mind. I do not consent to a search. Get away from me. Get a warrant or get probable cause. So you got to be smart about knowing the law and at the same time knowing your rights. But also at the same time stay within parameters. Don't draw attention to yourself. Like my FJ has a bunch of stickers on the back of it. And every once in a while I'll get the one dude who says, how do you drive around or, you park your car with all those gun stickers on the back? And I look at him and I go find me one goddamn gun sticker on my truck. Well, you got all kinds of stickers. Look, you got Black Flag, The Misfits, Bad Religion, Agnostic Front. Oh, yeah, I guess there's no gun stickers. I'm like, no, it's all band stickers, dude. This truck has no stickers whatsoever, so I don't advertise anything. So, it's you got to not draw attention to yourself, and then don't push your luck.
Yeah.
Be smart about it. If you have stuff, like I have stuff that I'm going to use in the class that I will not carry on body, that I won't carry and interact with law enforcement with it on me. But I have paperwork in those cases that say, hey, see this thing? Here's my paperwork for it. Have a nice day. So,
Do you find it hard for, like, students, to come to classes and, with limited gear and support gear to teach, the style of rifle and pistol classes?
So we've come up with state compliant drills.
Okay.
So a lot of our drills for those areas will be 10-round drills. All right, guys, 10 rounds, 1 round at a time out of the holster, or 1 round 10 times from a ready position. We do a lot of shotgun, and no one really cares about shotgun. You can do anything to your shotgun. And people overlook the shotgun. Little do they know it's the most devastating platform to the human body. But for like rifle work, ARs, stuff like that, it's you're on your own risk. I have no authority, nor do I have any interest in enforcing any laws. So I kind of leave it up to them, their own discretion. Like, hey, it's your choice. If you want to travel with it, you want to come with it.
You do, you boo.
Yeah, like I'm not law enforcement, so I'm not going to be like, you can't have that, because that would be bullshit. That would make me no better than the politicians that are trying to take the shit away from us. So
interesting.
Yeah, I always thought it'd be challenging to do anything up in that region with the restrictive.
I know. I mean, it's coming from a a New York guy myself, when I bought my AR in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
It was, before the assault weapons ban in New York, and then they dropped that, and my AR sat in my safe until I moved to the state of Texas. Like, it sat there for 10 years and didn't leave the safe because I was like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a place to shoot.
Yeah. So
There was like
what are
public,
you gonna do with it?
public land, but that was like heavily policed by the DEC and the state troopers, and I'm like, I'm not going there with that.
Interesting thing is, a couple years ago at SHOT, I was having a conversation with Casey, who was with Rifle Dynamics, and she was like, I give you guys up in the Northeast in those restricted states, she's like, I give you guys a lot of credit. She goes, you guys have to deal with far more shit than we do in these free states. And she's like, these instructors in these free states have no idea how lucky they have it. They go, they don't understand how hard it is for you guys. She goes, you guys are up there doing some hardcore shit, aren't you? I said, we're definitely, apart from teaching the classes, we're figuring out how to teach the classes with what we've got. And she goes, no, I give you guys a lot of credit. She goes, you guys are really making things work up there. And the interesting thing is, the restricted states, we do the best business in. Like, I do the 2 classes we had here this weekend. We got 15, 18 people per day. Like, most of our classes up there are either sold out or damn near close. I go to Virginia, and I'm like, cool, you got 8 people today. And I'm like, fucking 8 people. And you talk to people, and they're like, I've been shooting my whole life. I shoot right here on my backyard. What do I need to take a class for? Like, my first class in Pittsburgh, first class I ever booked. I was so psyched to have a class in, like, the town I was born in. And I get a phone call. I had some flyers out at my buddy's gun shop, and this guy calls, and he's like, yeah, I saw your flyer. Like, I don't know why. It's Western PA, but the dude was like, I saw your flyer. And I was going to ask you some questions about the class. And I'm like, yeah, man, what do you want to know? Like, he asking me what the class, what the curriculum was. And I gave him a quick little, 3-minute rundown of what we were going to do in the class and this and that. And he goes, well, I can hit a tin can at 10 feet, so I think I'm pretty good. And I didn't want to call the guy an idiot. I don't want to be like, you're a fucking moron. Don't come to my class. But I said, yeah, man, sounds like you're not the type of person for this class. And he goes, yeah, man, I know what I'm doing. I said, yeah, I'm sure you're an expert. Have a good day. Click. And that was my way of saying you're a fucking moron.
I don't think there's anything I can teach you.
Because if I would have said, what if that tin can brought a couple friends? What if that tin can started shooting back? What if that tin can started moving left and right? Your tin can at 10 feet. Yeah, if you can't hit that, we're going to have a long day.
Yeah, you should see what his 45 does to a tin can, man.
It fucking blew up 2 fucking battleships.
Yeah.
2 world wars.
Hell yeah, brother.
So it's like that kind of frustration in the free states where people grew up with guns, they shoot guns all the time. Like, maybe a class isn't necessarily on their top priority. But the restricted states, like when your parents told you, when they went out, don't you go looking for those Christmas gifts. Well, fuck, what did we do?
Yeah.
We went looking for them. So when, a politician tells you you're not allowed to have this, you can't do that, this is bad. Now I want to do it,
Do you think a little of it is, do you have is there a lot of competition in like Connecticut and New York when it comes to these types of classes that you're doing?
Not really. I don't really look at people as competition. Like there's some guys out there like, oh, that's my competitor. And I'm like, not really. Like I have one guy that teaches at a range near us, and he and I joke around all the time. And he'll be teaching a class on one range and I'll be on the other, and he'll go, oh, and guys, that's Onsight Firearms Training over there. They're our competition. But they're really good guys. You should go take a class from them, right? Fantastic. And I'll be like, nah, dude, we're not competition. You're definitely not competition. Like, and I'll joke around about it. 'Cause I don't get into that. the concept of competition in the training community has got to go away. I teach what I teach. You know, this guy teaches what he teaches. That person teaches what they teach. If you are trying to snake people's range dates, or you're throwing their flyers out, or you're doing like crooked shit like that, like that's fucked up. But like if you've got a class here and I'm teaching next to you, cool, I hope you have a good day. I have my people. I have plenty of people coming to classes that I don't feel like someone's a threat to me, you know. If you feel that someone is competition, be better. Teach a better class. Shoot better. Wow them with what you can show them, right? So you should, if you are a better instructor, then no one is competition, you know.
And you're teaming up with some larger names next year, this coming year.
Yeah.
And you
so
have in the past as well, right?
we host a lot of people, and we co-teach with a lot of people. So this 2024, we're hosting Bob Keller from Gamut Resolutions, fantastic dude. Dan Brokos and I are doing 2 weeks together, teaching rifle pistol. I'm going to do the pistol portion. He's going to do the rifle because that's his gig. We're hosting Chuck again for 3 weeks, Chuck Pressburg. Always host Steve Fisher. I think I host, how many times do we host Steve Fisher? Probably 10 classes a year we host Steve.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's from Massachusetts to Virginia to Pittsburgh to New York. I'm like, Steve, what do we need to fill for this next year? And he's like, here's all the dates I need. So I'll get all his dates set in. Tim Herron's coming back. We've got Aaron Cowan, Jared Reston, doing 2 weeks with Jared, driving him around. We also, unless it's somebody who travels a lot like Steve, we also will pick them up at the first destination and drive them from city to city. Jared, if you haven't trained with Jared Reston, amazing human being. Mm-hmm. I just taught a 2-day Red Dot instructor class up in Connecticut for a police department, and I ended the last 45 minutes of the class, the end of the second day. I said, guys, let's go back to the classroom. I want you to watch something. So I got 18 LE guys, SWAT guys from Connecticut sitting in this room, hit the lights, turn on the laptop, and I played the 37-minute version of Jared's presentation.
Yeah.
That's on YouTube. And I said, just sit and watch this. And watching their faces as he's telling this story and just seeing them go. Like, you see this set in with them. So anytime that, like, Jared comes up, I'm like, guys, you got to go. You got to go watch this video. And we had Jared in New York last year. And I host people not because I feel we need to bring people in, but I host people because I feel that we want to bring them in. So Dan, Jared, everybody that we bring in, Steve, I want to share with our students where we get our knowledge from. Mm-hmm. And I had a couple students last year. They're like, who's Jared Reston? I never heard of him. I know you guys trained with him before, but, like, I don't know, man. It's a lot of money, whatever it was, $600 for 2 days with Jared is nothing. And they're like, I don't know if I want to commit to that. Who is this guy? I never heard of him. And I sent this video to a couple people and go watch this video and then tell me what you think. 40 minutes later, I get a sign-up notification. Ding, this person signed up. Ding, that person. Like 3 in a row. And I'm like, messaged them back. I'm like, yeah, huh? And they go, yeah, huh?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, cool. There you go.
I know when we were in New Hampshire, I watched this video again just to, for the weekend.
You went to Bash Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good week. You missed it.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, holy moly, where were you?
That was
I took Chris's spot.
He took
was a
my
lot of
spot.
fun.
I signed
That was
up for
Chris.
it and didn't know how it was going to be with school just starting with my little ones, and it was not going to. It was not going to.
It was a good
Not
time,
going.
man.
I was not going to be able to sleep in the same bed as my wife had. I went to bed.
Yeah. But Chuck jokes around. Chuck has this little thing where he talks about Jared in his class, and he's like, the people of Jacksonville and most of Florida are probably very happy that Jared chose the righteous path instead of becoming a criminal. Because could you imagine Jared Reston as a bad guy? He'd be like fucking...
I mean, he's a bad motherfucker now.
Yeah, like if he led a life of crime, holy shit.
And now he's got his own candy shop.
Yeah.
He's got the chocolate place.
Yeah.
Him and Julie.
I have to go there next week.
It's fantastic.
If I can get over there from where I'm leaving here to go to Florida. So I'm going to be up in northern Florida for a little while. But yeah, we bring in as many quality guest instructors as we can to host them, because I want, instead of having like people have to travel, like imagine if you had your local instructor, whoever it was, bringing in all these big name instructors, bringing them right to you so that you don't have to go to all these places. And I'm like, that's kind of what I want to do for my guys. I want to be like, hey, if I bring somebody in and you've never heard of them, just sign up, because if I'm bringing them in, it's going to be worth it.
And that's something I've told people before, friends I've have in different states and everything. I'm like, hey, go out and find your local dude that is bringing in these names.
Yeah.
Because if they're bringing in the names like that you listed, and the other guys that are out there that are doing really good classes, if somebody's bringing them in, it's almost a guarantee that that's the guy that you want to go train with on the weekend if he's doing local classes and he's local to you. Not saying that was fantastic. That's exactly what I did back in the day. Is I brought people in to the range I was working at, or the range I was.
Not everyone knows who everyone is.
Yeah.
Right. I still get today, like, people say, "Who's Steve Fisher? Who's Chuck Pressburg? Never heard of. Who's Dan Brokos?" And I'm like, "You ever see the Victos ads?" "Yeah." "Well, that's Dan Brokos, the guy with the white beard." "Oh yeah." "Is he an instructor?" I'm like, "Fucking goddamn." Yeah, just sign up. All right. Stop asking questions. If I'm telling you it's good, it's good.
It's like this guy just appeared out of nowhere in like 2017. I wonder what he did before that.
Yeah. Like,
Who knows?
But at the same time, you do get people that no one's heard of, and like this weekend, none of these guys, only 2 of them, 4 people out of the, the 18 that we had this weekend in total knew who I was. But, you get a good host. So down here, Craig Summers, Templar, amazing dude. Like, it's funny that I'm on here after the class that he hosted, because I found out about him from listening to his podcast on here.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's great.
And it's fucking wild, because I listened to his podcast and I really liked what he had to say. Like, I liked the fact that he's kind of coming from the same, background and perspective as me. He's just a dude. He's just some dude who wants to help people shoot better. And I admired that, and I was like, God damn, I gotta find this dude. So found him on Instagram, sent him a message, and I was like, hey man, you going to SHOT Show? And he's like, yeah. I was like, let's talk, because I want to come down to Texas. And he had never heard of me, and prior to the podcast, never heard of him. And I was like, look, here's who I am, here's what I do, here's what I want to do. What can we do? And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, I'll hook you up, I'll take care of you. And I'm like, really? You sure? Yeah, I got you, man. I'm like, you sure? Because I've had that before, where people are like, yeah, I'll host you, get in touch with me, and then they flake out. Mm-hmm. Like, there's people that are just completely unreliable. If you thought the music industry had a bunch of bitchy-ass, arrogant, whiny little rock stars, welcome to the training community. That's why I left the music industry. So I was like, you people are idiots. There's some bad ones in this one too, but he hooked it up, and I was like, God damn, dude, like, I owe you big time for this, because I've wanted to get down to Texas for a while. We've tried to do a few things at BTO, and it's like, like, no one knows who I am down here. So, Northeast, cool, got it fucking covered, but the rest of the country is a very slow work. And he just did a phenomenal job as a host this weekend. Like, he had stands, sticks, spray glue. He had all the shit that I needed. And it was like, I don't need to bring any of this. I'm like, because I can load up the truck with an extra 2,000 pounds. And he's like, no, I got it. And I'm like, shit, okay, awesome. And phenomenal. I owe him big time. I owe him a huge favor, and I'm a good person to owe you a favor. You know, the East Coast, Northeast, got it covered. But the rest of the country is just, it's still a very slow walk to the West Coast. So
I think the first time I met you, you'd come in the range. I don't know if you were traveling in between destinations or not. And I was busy. You were talking to Jake. I walked by, and you were like, "Hey, what's up, man?" I shook your hand, said something, and I was out the door. And about an hour and a half later, I was like, "Wait a second.
Wait.
I think that was Ben from Onsight. Damn it." And
I was wondering why there was all those Onsight T-shirts on the counter. God damn it. Yeah. It's all good, man. I also don't walk in a room and go, "Hi, everyone. I'm so-and-so." Like, I'll roll into the store, and I'll be like, just regular customer, you know, and if somebody notices me, they'll be like, "Hey, how are you?" And I'll be like, "Hey, how you doing?" But I don't I don't come in like with the big sign up as to who I am. Jake's like, "Oh, hey, dude, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" Like, he knew me, but the other guys are like, "Who the fuck's this guy?" And I don't want to be like, "You don't know who I am?"
It's funny. I think when Fish was in town a few months ago, Jake texted us. He's like, "Hey, do y'all know if Steve Fisher's coming by today?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's around." He's like, "Yeah, because he's in here shopping."
So we do things like that. You know, Steve travels around, drives around, I drive around, and like, "Ooh, gun shop." And gun shops are like tits. You've seen one set of tits. You've seen one gun shop. You want to see them all. And I have actually flown past a gun shop and gone, "Yeah, fuck it." Turn around, pull a U-turn, travel back like half mile, pull in, and walk out with something. I got my Rossi 92R that way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, a little shorty. But yeah, like if I'm driving someplace and I'll pass a store, it's like a tractor beam. Like, I gotta go in. I gotta go see what it is. Comic book stores, gun shops, and record stores suck me in every time. No fail. I wanted to actually open up, like when I hit the lottery and become like a mega millionaire, I'm going to open up a gun range that has a store, pro shop, so kind of like BTO, that also has a comic book store, a cafe, a gym, a laundromat, and a record store.
24-hour laundromat next to the gun shop.
Just so I never have to leave.
Nice. That's a lot. What's the range in Virginia that has the gym?
Is that Elite?
Is it Elite?
It might have been. Yeah, I think they closed though. I think it was huge. It was like a Gumtree Club.
Yeah.
Kind of place, corporate building.
Yeah, it's neat.
There's a bunch of those out there.
Yeah, that's like the new big thing is like the whole the Gumtree Club,
so,
the really high, wood furnishings everywhere.
Yeah, what was it?
Leather sofas and cigars.
Maryland has Heritage, which is a real fancy joint. It was like intro to pistol, $250 for 4 hours. Elite, which was Northern Virginia, and then you have Colonial, which is Virginia Beach. But these are like these big buildings. Like, you would think it was a corporate office.
Yeah.
And cool for them, if they're making it, awesome. People are paying it, awesome. That's good for them. Your clientele, in that area, if you can get money out of them, that's what people are after.
I don't have any more questions.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where can people find you?
Our website is oftllc.us. You can also still go to onsightfirearmstraining.com and it'll redirect. We're on Instagram. We're on the Facebooks. Not so much heavy on Facebook posts. I just post on Instagram and magically it appears on Facebook as well.
What's your handle on Instagram?
Onsight Firearms Training, just one word straight across. And those are probably the three best ways to reach us. I reply relatively quickly. People comment on how fast I return emails, because usually if I don't answer the question, somebody else will. And it's the one thing about running a business. Like, let's say, hey, I need to get magazines. I'm going to contact BTO. I haven't heard from them in a week. Well, shit, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I want to order some stuff and I haven't heard from you, I'm not going to wait for you. I'm going to go to Primary Arms. If Primary Arms doesn't have it, I'm going to go to Euro Optic. And if Euro Optic doesn't have it, well, fuck if I'm going to Optics Planet. Fuck that. And I sure as hell ain't going to
swing back to Big Tech's
Sportsman's
Ordnance.
Guide, and I'll swing back over to BTO. Not that that's ever happened, because you guys are phenomenal, but it's the same thing in the training community. If someone's like, hey, I want to take a pistol class. I got this pistol. I got my permit. I got a holster. I don't know what the fuck to do with it. Let me look up firearms training in New York. And first company comes up, and maybe that's us. And they send us a message, and I don't reply. Well, what are they going to do? What would you do?
Go to the next list.
Go to the next one. And then if they don't reply, go to the next one. So why are people going to the next one? Because you saw the email and you were like, yeah, I'll answer that later. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. My phone dings. I go, here we go right here. What'd I just get?
Contact form.
Contact form submission. Submission. Is there still a spot on this Saturday's class? I guess this is the Florida class. Yeah. When I get done with this, yeah, man, get signed up. Info's on the website.
Fantastic.
Because if I wait, he might come up with something else to do this Saturday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't hear from you, so I didn't think. Like, fuck, then I lose out. And he loses out. So, and your business loses out. So, be a better businessman. Be a hustler first, and then be a businessman second. Right? That hustle game's got to be strong. But yeah, what about you guys?
Working it. We've just dropped. We've got a lot of RMRs going out the door. Trigicon's running a $100 rebate right now. If you buy an RMR, we've got them at a really, really killer price, and yeah, we're just selling a bunch,
slinging them things.
Slinging.
Speaking of Trigicon, do you guys have the new Hollow Sun 507 comp in?
I think we got it. We might have a 507 comp back.
We did at one
That is
point.
a
We did.
phenomenal optic.
Yeah.
We had red and green, and I know we sold out of one of them, if not
Yeah,
both of them.
I love the green one.
I think that window's huge.
Yeah,
Huge.
my guy at Hollow Sun sent me one of the ones they had on the guns at SHOT Show when they came back. He's like, take this. You're going to sell this. And I'm like, yeah, I am. So I threw it on my 17, and that's my carry gun is my class gun, is my taking classes gun, is my practice gun. Like 75 pistols in the safe. I shoot maybe 3 of them a year. My Nighthawk, this one, and my revolver, my 686 Performance.
Oh.
Yeah, the
Now
big
you're
heavy
speaking
one.
English language.
And
Revolver?
I busted out my 17 that first week with the comp on, and everyone's like, what is that? And I'm like, this is the SRO killer. Like that was the not, I don't know if I should have said that, but that was the sort of description that some people had called it. And people are looking at it like, where did you get this? I'm like, this isn't coming out for 3 months, but keep an eye on BTO, keep an eye on Euro Optic. Like one of those 2 places will have it. If you go to BTO, our students can use this code, which is a good thing. But now that it came out, I'm buying them everywhere. Every time I see them, I'm buying them, and I'm replacing all my other optics with this optic because that window is just
It's huge.
widescreen TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to watch the pay-per-view, I'm not watching it on that. I'm getting going out and putting it on the 52-inch.
What reticle are you running on
Just
your
a dot.
You're just running dot.
Just a dot. The 2 MOA.
That thing's got so many
just a dot.
options that you could.
Everything
you
else
bought-
is just way too much shit going on.
Yeah.
You know, you got the circle with the lines and the dot and the arrows and the
I'm a dot
blinking
guy.
things over here.
Just a single
Just
dot.
a single dot. That's all I want, because I want to be able to see over it, under it, to the left of it, and to the right of it, and place it exactly where I want it to be with no other information. I don't need any other information. I just need right there. And that's fine. But I do like the SRO. The SRO is my favorite. I just wish it was in green instead of red. I like the green so
You
much
heard it,
better.
Trijicon, wherever you are.
Yeah. Whatever you guys can do for me, hook it up. I will promote it for you. Just get it to me. But yeah, I guess I don't know. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's all we got?
Yeah, that's what we got.
That's it.
That's it. That's
I
it.
have to pee
God
solid-
damn it.
real bad.
That's a solid episode. We appreciate your time. For
Yeah,
sure,
man,
dude.
thank you so much.
Thanks. I know you got a long road, a long trip ahead of you today, and just got off teaching class, but we really appreciate you making
Yeah,
time
man,
for
I
us this
appreciate
morning.
you guys having me on here. That was super cool. I wanted to get on here for quite some time, so this is pretty badass.
Keep
Hopefully,
us on your schedule for next time you're in town. And for those of you watching or listening out there in our audience, thanks for tuning in. And if you've got any questions for Ben or for anybody on the show, drop them in the comments, or jump online, find him on Instagram, or hit him up at Onsight Firearms Training.com. Right?
Yeah, or OFTLLC.us.
There you go. All the links will be in the show notes, and the transcripts available wherever you're at. And thank you.
Remember, October is Fire Safety Month, so check your smoke detectors and fire extinguishers.
Thank you.